What's something that you're made from?
Carbon.
Carbon is a great, great example of something we're made from. How old is that carbon?
Oof, that's a good
Yeah,
question.
it's a question people really don't think about, but it's somewhere in the order of 7 to 11 billion years old. Uh, that carbon was in many other things before it was in you. It might have been in a dinosaur. It might have been CO2 in the atmosphere. Hard to know. But the point is, nature used it once before and is constantly using it and reusing it. And if we want to create a sustainable economy, in fact, if we want to create a society that transcends the present and goes many generations into the future, we have to start to think about creating a society that recycles in the same way. And that's fundamental to how seventh generation thinks.
Hi, I'm Julie Zaniewski, Sustainability Director for Dow's North American Packaging and Specialty Plastics business. And you're watching Looped In, a conversation about unlocking the power of the circular economy. Welcome, Martin.
Good morning, Julie. It's good to be here with you.
Good to see you again. Thanks again for joining me today. I was wondering, for those in our audience who may not be as familiar with your company, could you tell us a little bit about Seventh Generation and the company's mission?
I'd be glad to. I'll start with our name, which is seventh generation, and it comes from a Native American, specifically a Haudenosaunee, great law, which states in our every deliberation, we need to consider the impact of our decision on the next 7 generations. So the idea is to think not about the next day or the next 90 days, but to think about future generations and how what we do today will impact them. And the company has a mission that derives from that type of thinking, and it's to create a more healthy, sustainable, and equitable world for the next 7 generations. And hopefully that drives all of our decisions, though we try. In reality, of course, we don't always succeed.
Now, if we drill down into how you are doing that at Seventh Generation, could you tell us a bit about how you're transforming the sustainable packaging landscape?
When we create an ingredient, we create it from a plant-based material because that is part of nature's cycle, and we make it biodegradable so that it can become a nutrient to future plants or maybe a future Julie, who knows. Uh, we also think the same way about our packaging, with one important difference. Our packaging is a technical material. Often it's a plastic, sometimes it's paper or a metal, but it can be collected and reused. So when we design our packaging, one, we like to start with recycled materials. And today we use over 86% recycled plastic in our packaging. And then the packaging itself has to be recyclable. And we're upwards of 97% in terms of the recyclability of our packaging. So it's thinking in terms of these cycles that drives the innovation in our approach to packaging.
That's great stuff. Thank you. And as you're talking about sustainable packaging, I was thinking you've done so much in this space. You've really led in this space. And where do you think you've had the most impact in your sustainable packaging journey?
That's a good question. I think the biggest impact is not in what we do because we're actually a very small company, and therefore the number of tons of plastic or other packaging we manage is relatively small. Our biggest impact comes from influencing others. We demonstrate the possible and then work with others to try to convince them of the importance of doing the same. So change is possible, just takes one, the will to do it, and two, the knowledge how. And by showing people how, we give people that piece of the puzzle.
As an experienced leader in this space, do you have any thoughts on how we could optimize the recycling infrastructure?
This gets back to our mission to create a healthy, sustainable, and equitable world for the next 7 generations. We're not going to do that by ourselves. We need a transformation of the way business is laid out, the way uh, society as a whole thinks about how it functions. And that type of transformation is systemic. It's not just about what one company does or all companies do. It's about what we as a society want to do. So what is important to seventh generation is not just to show that we can be a successful business and make sustainable products, but that we can also help transform the world to be that sustainable place. So we want to continue our advocacy so that we can see legislation that promotes more recycling, that we see communication to the consumer about the importance of recycling, and also clear and easy ways to recycle. So, for example, today at the bottom of every bottle is a small resin identification code, or RIC, that tells you what can be done with that particular piece of packaging. You need really good eyesight to see it. Even with my glasses, I have trouble. And when you have a bin in which all plastics go, that goes to a recycling facility, you then have to separate all of the different plastics. Well, having that little number on the bottom doesn't really facilitate doing that efficiently. So we need to have either machine readable or human readable codes so that the sorting can be done more efficiently.
What is that one thing that you would say to those professionals, sustainability professionals, or someone just trying to make a difference within their current role or company in terms of driving towards circular economy? What's that one thing that you would say to them?
There needs to be a re-evaluation of the role of business. So often we're asked, what is the business case for sustainability? And that's exactly the wrong question because it suggests that sustainability is subordinate to business. It's not. Business is a construct of society, and society must exist within our environment, within our world. So to think that business has a superior position is, in essence, a myth. It's actually a folly and it's a harmful one.
So, how is seventh generation transforming the sustainable packaging landscape? Do you have examples of that?
Importantly, we're not doing it alone. So, an example I have is for what we call a pouch, which contains laundry or auto dish packets. It's a clear, flexible film. I'm sure every consumer listening to the show has seen a flexible pouch. Well, many flexible pouches are made of layers of material. And because they're different layers of different materials, they can't be recycled. So seventh generation working with Dow developed what's called a homopolymer pouch. It's made out of one material, a number 4 low density polyethylene, so it can be recycled. Sounds like a simple thing, but technologically it's difficult. But importantly, we now have a recyclable package where we did not before.
That's a good example of recycle ready technology, whereas the material was non-recyclable and was able to transform that pouch into a recyclable pouch, recyclable format that could go through the store drop off system. Um, but also, more importantly, it optimized the material itself for reuse, recycling after it was recycled into the system. So, thank you for that collaboration.
Oh, thank you.
So, it's this thought leadership and those innovative solutions. It's really the work that seventh generation is doing all of this takes imagination and long-term vision. So, with this type of mindset, this type of leadership, hopefully other companies can also be empowered to design their products, to take a lead towards circularity and really provide new life for those materials, plastics, and others. So, thank you very much, Martin, for your time today. It was great to see you again. It's because of companies like yours harnessing that sustainability driven innovation. It's helping us get closer and closer to our vision of a circular economy. And thanks to everyone for watching. Be sure to check out our other episodes like Conversations with Kraft Heinz, Gerber, and many others. You can find them at dow.com/looped in. I'm your host, Julie Zaniewski, and you've been watching Looped In, a conversation about unlocking the power of circular economy. Thank you, and until next time, goodbye.